Would you believe it if we told you that today's innovative build actually started as the personal project of one man? Keep watching to hear the full story. In June 2022, the United States Congress approved a bill that would authorize federal agencies to begin planning for an estimated $31 billion coastal barrier project that would affect hundreds of miles of Texas coast. This project is known as Ike Dike, after Hurricane Ike, which devastated the Galveston area of Texas in 2008. The seawall will protect Galveston Bay, Galveston, and by extension, Houston, from future storms. Interestingly, the wall will cover an area twice the size of New York Bay. That makes us wonder how they intend to achieve that, but we'll explore their plans to make it happen later in the video. But what if the construction never completes? Does that mean impending devastation for the Texas coastline? We'll break it all down at the end of this video and show you how important this mega project is for the future of Texas. You're watching Innovative Builds. Hit that subscribe button and enable notifications so you are the first to see each video as we unveil them. This is how it all began. When Hurricane Ike made landfall in Galveston, Texas in 2008, Bill Merrill took refuge on the second floor of a historic brick building with his wife, daughter, grandson, and their 2 dogs. Gusts of 110 miles per hour battered the building and the ground floor, which was inundated to a depth of more than 8 feet by seawater. Yes, it was truly scary. Years before, Merrill, a physical oceanographer at Texas A&M University in Galveston, had toured the massive Eastern Scheldt Storm Surge Barrier, a roughly 6-mile-long bulwark that keeps North Sea storms from flooding the southern Dutch coast. As Ike roared outside, Merrill kept thinking about the barrier. The following morning, he started sketching a barrier that would protect his own town from another storm like this. I'm sure that we all had that random 3 a.m. burst idea that we never really act on, but this man meant serious business. These sketches were the beginning of the Ike Dike, a plan for a coastal barrier to safeguard Galveston Bay. The central concept, combining massive gates across the primary inlet into the bay from the Gulf of Mexico, known as the Boulevard Roads, with kilometers of high seawalls. However, Merrill's idea was rejected by basically everyone. Politicians were opposed to its costs, environmentalists were concerned about its effects, and no one believed that it would actually work. But Merrill had a dream and he persevered. When he returned to the Netherlands, he sought advice from academics at Delft University. During the next 5 years, Dutch and American academic researchers conducted scores of studies on Galveston Bay options, while Merrill and his friends garnered support from local communities, business leaders, and politicians. The United States Army Corps of Engineers collaborated with the state in 2014 to investigate Ike Dike-like solutions for Galveston Bay. Bills to establish a governing structure for the $26.2 billion barrier project developed by the Corps in collaboration with Texas General Land Office passed both the Texas House and Senate after numerous modifications. They subsequently presented their suggestions to the United States Congress, which approved the project. President Joe Biden's new $2 trillion national infrastructure proposal prioritizes investments along the nation's troubled coasts. The Houston Initiative highlights the difficult decisions for coastal megaprojects, which must balance societal needs, engineering capabilities, environmental protections, and costs. Houston is the 5th largest United States metro area and the vulnerable heart of the petrochemical industry. Protecting Galveston Bay is no simple task. The bay is sheltered from the open ocean by 2 low, sandy strips of land, Galveston Island and Boulevard Peninsula, separated by the narrow passage of Boulevard Roads. When a sufficiently big storm approaches, water begins to rush through that gap and over the island and peninsula, surging into the bay. Meanwhile, the oceans continue to rise. The threat of devastating hurricanes is ever present, and it's becoming difficult to balance the need to find quick solutions and a solution that will work. Do you think the Ike Dike is taking way too much time? Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, here's the update on construction. Building on Merrill's concept, the centerpiece of the latest proposal is a massive set of gates across the Boulevard Roads. As a storm approaches, the two main navigation gates will float and swing out of dry docks to close the channel. Each will be 82 feet high, with 22 feet above water when closed, and 650 feet wide, almost twice the length of a football field. These giants will be combined with two smaller swing gates, plus a set of vertical lift gates that stay open in normal weather to let the tides flow. When closed, the gates are expected to reduce surge in Galveston Bay by 30 to 60%, according to the Corps analysis, depending on the hurricane's track and intensity. The plan is to also raise two parallel lines of dunes, which would run 43 miles along the Boulevard Peninsula and the unprotected western side of Galveston Island, fronted by 250 feet of beach. It is estimated that constructing them will require 40 million cubic yards of sand. Additionally, since a storm on the scale of Ike would wash away the dunes and surge into the bay, the project calls for other gates and walls around the bay, including a ring barrier encircling the city of Galveston. Farther into the bay, Clear Lake and Dickinson Bay would both get pump stations and assorted barrier structures. Proponents are also thinking about environmental repair, restoring 6,600 acres of ecosystems such as wetlands, bird rookery islands, and oyster reefs, some located elsewhere along the Texas shore. Farther south along the coast, more than 100 miles of breakwaters, or artificial barriers to protect against storm surges, would be added. In Orange County, people also want to have extra flooding protection. A levee system is planned for this area. Given the size and complexity of the Galveston Bay region, balancing the environment, people, and economics is just impossible. Planners must assess the costs and benefits in order to keep risks at an acceptable level, and what constitutes as an acceptable level is up for discussion. Do you think the seawall will radically alter the lives of people living in the Galveston area? Answer in the comment section. We'd love to hear. The big concern is that the Ike Dike has to be constructed quickly. The idea for a seawall protecting Galveston Bay has been in the pipeline for about 15 years. However, the issues that precipitated its conception are still very much around. They are even growing. Last year, 5 hurricanes hit the United States Gulf Coast, one with sustained winds up to 150 miles per hour. There's a scientific consensus that climate change will cause greater numbers of these monster Atlantic hurricanes, said Meng Li, a physical oceanographer at the University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science. As the sea rises, the land is also sinking. In the last century, the Texas coast sank about 2 feet into the sea, partly due to excessive groundwater pumping. Computer models now suggest that climate change will further lift sea levels somewhere between 1 and 6 feet over the next 50 years. Meanwhile, the Texas coastal population is projected to climb from 7 to 9 million people by 2050. The gate project alone would account for at least $16 billion and require 18 years to build, according to United States Army Corps of Engineers estimates. The earliest time for the completion of the whole project is 2045, if construction begins now. How soon do you think the project will begin? Let us know in the comments section. What will Ike Dike mean for the people of Texas? The coastal barrier has earned enthusiastic support from numerous local politicians and members of Congress. "We need it yesterday," said Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner in August 2020 after Hurricane Laura struck the nearby Louisiana coast, narrowly missing Galveston Bay. When built, the barrier will protect the cities of Galveston and Houston from another hurricane the size of Ike. It will also protect the port of Houston, which is the second busiest port in the United States and the center of 30% of Americans' petroleum refining industry. Although Merrill and other experts have talked about how well the plan would protect the region from the worst blows, some environmental advocates are skeptical the environmental impacts are worth the benefits, and many observers suggest that localized projects, such as raising homes and building smaller seawalls, may offer better and quicker payoffs. Questions about payoffs begin with those immense swing gates across the Boulevard Road's inlet. Experience with similar giant moving barriers in the Netherlands and elsewhere in Europe shows that the structure can work reliably, although each design is unique, said Bas Jonkman, a professor of hydraulic engineering at Delft University, who led much of the research for the Ike Dike and its successor plans. Yonkman compared the enormous moving parts to a jumbo jet that has to fly just once every 10 years. The barrier must be expertly operated and perfectly maintained, which turned out to be more challenging and expensive than expected after the construction of a similar barrier protecting Rotterdam, the busiest port in Europe. Some experts are also concerned about the sand dunes slated to cover Bolivar Peninsula and Galveston Island. Merrill's Ike Dike proposal and a previous Corps plan originally envisioned 17-foot or higher levees that would have hampered access to the Gulf beaches. Under pressure from disgruntled locals, they replaced the levees within dunes, but the taller dunes would be only 14 feet high, much lower than the 22-foot high gates at Bolivar Roads. Storms no larger than Ike would wipe their sand away, Merrill and other experts have warned. Your whole system is only as strong as your weakest link, says Merrill, who continues to collaborate with academic experts to analyze coastal measures. Should Merrill and the Army engineers scale down their plans for the seawall to accommodate the residents of the area? Share your thoughts in the comment section. A few things are for certain though. If the Ike Dike project is not constructed to protect the Texas coastline, there could be several significant consequences. The area could be susceptible to severe storm surges, causing significant damage to infrastructure, buildings, and homes, as well as leading to potential loss of life. Coastal erosion would also worsen, leading to the loss of beaches and the degradation of natural habitats. In addition, business and tourism in the region could suffer from the lack of protection. Without the protection of the Ike Dike, many people may be hesitant to invest in or visit the area, potentially leading to long-term economic damage. The importance of this mega build could not be more important for the future of Texas. Were you fascinated by the wondrous coastline build? Then you might love our video on Eco-Atlantic City, Africa's next best coastline innovation. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.